Welcome to the Poisoner's Cabinet. I'm Sinead.
And I'm Nick.
And this is your weekly podcast exploring the lives of the great poisoners, macabre murders, and captivating crimes from across the centuries, and creating curious cocktails inspired by the tales that we tell. And it's episode 205.
Hurrah!
Hurrah! That's it.
That's all I have to say on the matter.
That's all you have to say on the matter.
All I have to say on the matter.
There will be no more celebrating
No.
of these episode numbers.
Absolutely not.
How are you, Nick?
I'm fine.
You're very well, are you?
I'm fine.
Well, you've got a bit of a devil in you,
fine.
haven't you?
I've had 2 Negronis.
Yeah, oh, that's nice. We have been chatting for about 25 minutes beforehand. Yes, we always do a warm-up to these episodes, and this is something that our cyanide connoisseurs get on the Patreon tier. We decided to start releasing a little warm-up recording sessions. Gets us all ready for the main episode.
Gets us going.
They become unhinged very quick.
But they work. They're good. We're in the zone.
We're in the zone. We're in the zone for it. It is just random chat a lot of the time about our day-to-day lives, but it does degenerate pretty quickly.
Yes.
But good. Any poisonings this week?
Probably not.
Probably not? No, you're
Probably
not entirely sure.
Probably not. I'm not paying attention really at the moment.
No, it's just the wanton flinging of
Just
seeds.
Excuse me.
Seeds.
Okay.
I don't know, poison seeds. Sorry, I went very old school
Yeah,
there.
indeed, yes.
And a little bit obscene, apparently.
Yes, on all my acres of land that
For the serfs to harvest.
I've been planting this week.
No one's been poisoned that we know of. But speaking of no one being poisoned, but flinging seeds everywhere you go, just in case, I think it is time for us to thank our delicious Patreon subscribers.
Absolutely, those famous seed flingers.
They are. Oh, yes, the birds follow them.
Thank you very much to Kizzy Eels.
And to Alex Davis.
Marvellous, thank you very much.
Marvellous, you lovely, lovely, sexy Patreon subscribers. We had fun on Patreon this week.
Did we?
Yes, we did.
It was a long time ago.
You told a story.
Did I?
Yes.
What was it
I
about?
don't know what it was.
Was it good? I'm sure it was a
What
crash.
was it?
Oh no, it was the crazy lady who got, or not crazy lady, who got locked up.
Oh my God, Patreon was amazing this week.
So yeah, I forgot. And then it's like, it was really good.
Trust us, people, it takes us a minute to remember anything that we've done ever. But no, that was a great story. That was chilling, nightmarish. It was a real example of Victorian ladies, how easy it is to commit them to mental asylums.
If only it were like that now.
If only it was for you.
Only it were.
Yes,
But
I would fight.
yes, and you would win.
I would. If you want to know what the hell we're talking about, please do consider joining us on patreon.com/The Poisoner's Cabinet, where for but $5 a month, you get an extra weekly episode from us, as well as some extra bonus content. And there is a higher tier, the Cyanide Connoisseurs, where you get monthly episodes and also those behind-the-scenes sneak peeks of what goes on when we record an episode, as well as a little gift pack from us.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my throat. It's just full of seeds. Why has your mind gone to the gutter? There are other seeds other than that.
No, I said no such thing.
I know that look on your face. I've known you long enough to know. Well, Nick, are you ready?
God, no.
To drink cocktails and talk about poison? Or we could drink poison and talk about cocktails.
Yeah, let's do one of them.
Let's do one of those.
One of them.
You have a Negroni. Well, on to the second there.
Yep.
I have some gin. I think it is time for us to have one of these cocktails that we've heard so much talk about.
I've heard many things about them.
For we've never drunk in our lives.
No.
Yes.
I'm intrigued to try one.
Indeed. Hooray, hooray, hooray. It is my story this week, but we can't possibly have a story without a cocktail in hand. As you know, dear listeners, every week we choose a secret ingredient that is inspired by the tale that we tell, and it will flavour our cocktail of the week. So my story, my pick, and this week's secret ingredient is a buttock.
A singular buttock.
A singular buttock.
Not buttocks.
Oh, it is specifically a buttock.
A singular buttock.
Just
right.
the one.
Okay. I haven't taken that into account when creating the cocktail.
I mean, it is part of a. It is
set.
part of a. The buttock is famously part of a set.
Part of a set.
This calls from one of my favourite jokes of all time.
Okay, tell me.
I was walking outside and I stooped to pick a buttock up. Why people leave buttocks lying around, I have no idea. Because
Nice.
buttercups are flowers.
Yeah.
You get
It's even better when you have to explain it.
Yeah. Stephen Fry makes that joke. Shut up. Yes, a buttock. And this did prompt a flurry of comments on social media.
I'm sure.
People messaging going, What?
What?
And also people sending us all sorts of suggestions of names of cocktails.
Oh,
which
I need to
have
look at this
been-
then. I haven't seen these.
Bless it. One of them was hidden. One of them from our darling regular commentators. It was hidden by Instagram.
Oh wow,
week.
loads of comments.
Yes, people are intrigued.
So yeah, just one. Please, I'm going just one. What's going on
Just
there?
the one buttock. So I had to use an image. I had to use an ye olde image, which I think it was Sunny Day messaged us and said it's actually Juno that is featured in the picture. So Juno, the Roman goddess, and she's with a peacock. I was wondering why the peacock was there. Apparently, Juno peacocks were very, very tight. Yeah, they were pals. They were big old pals. Everything else, that when you look up for a picture of buttock, it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued. When someone, has listed a cocktail, I mean, I'm intrigued by what on earth is in a buttock clencher cocktail.
Buttock clencher.
I mean, what's going on there?
I'm thinking laxatives
Yes.
and
A
whiskey.
lot of gin and laxatives. Which is a 1920s diet, I feel.
It is what all the good housewives start the day with. A cigarette, and then you're done for the day. Okay, right. There were some other ones on there. There was a lot of ass talk
Yes.
as well. Yes, arse as it's known in England and Ireland.
Arse. I'm looking at comments on Instagram now and Facebook and things. Someone says, "I'm not drinking butt juice." Who's drinking butt juice? There's no butt juice here. Juice indeed.
You know, if you crash,
We should stop all this now.
No, but if you have to eat someone, you should start with the buttocks. Like if you're not like on a Sunday. I'm just saying if you're in a plane and it crashes in the Andes, like alive, that actually happened. If you're gonna eat one of your dead passengers, you start with the buttocks. It's the most meaty part.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go with that.
Is that what we're having?
Yes.
Someone died in a plane
Got a
crashing.
selection in the freezer. So,
Oh, it's gone very American Psycho, hasn't it? But with a buttock, then,
yes.
Nick.
I mean, I think now anything's going to be a disappointment. I feel.
As your inspiration, your ingredient, what have you come up with?
Well, this evening we shall be having some hot pants
Some hot pans.
Yes.
Oh, okay. You
that
went.
contain the buttocks.
The buttocks are contained within.
Contain within the hot pants.
Within the hot
And
pants.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
And
short shorts.
probably with an effort to display the buttocks, one would imagine.
Well, hot pants do give a hint of buttock.
Yeah, indeed.
Just
So,
the one.
Just a singular
The
one.
singular buttock. Right, okay. Well, enough of this buttock talk. I think it is high time for us to sashay into the Poisonous Cabinet kitchen and shake up a storm, so we'll see you in a minute.
We'll see you in a bit.
And we're back.
Hello.
So, Nick,
Yes.
the hot pants.
Hot pants.
Is it pants singular or plural?
I'm going to go plural.
Plural. So it's not just the one pant
Not just one singular pant.
for the singular buttock.
No.
But the hot pants, it looks very nice. It's very fancy. It's pink.
It's very pinky.
It's very pinky. It's very
A colour,
pretty.
for some reason, I associate with hot pants.
A colour you do associate with
Yes.
hot pants. Do you?
Pink. I don't know
Pink hot pants.
Pink hot pants. Don't
Well,
know
I
why.
always think black, but then
No.
I'm a 90s girl.
No.
Yeah, we had to go out dancing in hot pants.
Yes.
Yes.
And I did, but then mine were pink.
And sparkly. This is very pretty. Okay, well, let's dive in.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I took a really big gulp there. Huh. What?
Yeah.
What's...
What's going on there?
I don't know. I don't know what that is. Sorry. I think what I did there mistakenly was like, oh, I should take a gulp and like swill it to get all the flavours. But I took a really big mouthful and now I feel like it's Gaviscon because it's pink. I don't know why.
Yes, well, it's not Gaviscon.
I don't know about that at all.
It's interesting.
Interesting's a word.
Interesting is a word.
Is a word we could use.
Yeah.
I reserve
I
judgment
have,
on
okay,
it.
I'm going to say, I have had to make a adaptation
Right.
on this because
Okay.
I didn't have a particular ingredient. I had to improvise.
Did you use Gaviscon
I
instead?
used Gaviscon instead.
Right, okay, that makes sense. It doesn't have much of an aftertaste.
No,
It sort
no,
of goes... yeah, it's a bit of a sort of a
Yeah.
damp squib.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I'd describe it.
Yeah.
That is... It's odd, actually, how nothingy that is. Does it get better?
I wouldn't-
No, I don't know
No.
about that at all.
No, I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan of that.
What on earth has happened?
Well, what do you
right-
think has happened?
Oh, God. Honestly, there's something fruity in there, I would guess.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not getting overly bitter. There's pink in there, so is it grapefruit? Or?
It's meant to be a grapefruit.
It's meant to be. Is it meant to be a grapefruit liqueur?
No, it's meant to be a grapefruit juice.
Oh yes, you normally have a grapefruit
yes,
juice.
but I could not find it. I went to 2 shops.
You could have gone to a third.
Not on the way home.
Yeah, could have gone up to the other Sanos, the little Sanos.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
No, you didn't think of that.
No. So I went to 2 shops and I couldn't find grapefruit juice.
Okay.
So I went with I went with a tropical medley.
I think that's where you fell down,
of
mate.
I think there's other things that make this fall down,
a tropical
including
juices.
grapefruit,
including grapefruit, but also what else?
Also other things.
Other like guava or like is it umbungo?
Damn,
I would have loved it if there was umbungo.
My secret has been is not umbungo, unfortunately.
Oh, for God's sake, I could have been sitting here drinking umbungo.
But there is some grapefruit. Yeah, but there are other things.
Right, there's other things. Well, okay, so tropical juices. There's something that's not right in there. Sorry, there's something that's just medicinal. I'm getting something medicinal or herbally. Is it not?
No.
It just doesn't taste right, though. Is it mint?
It's mint.
That's what I fucking thought. That's why I'm saying Gaviscon.
It's mint.
Because I was like, it can't be mint. He couldn't have put mint in this.
I put mint in
You
there.
put mint in this.
But entirely on purpose.
Entirely on purpose.
Yes.
Right, a hot pant.
It's meant to have mint in it.
So what is it? The creme de menthe?
Yes, it's creme de menthe, but a blanc one.
A blanc.
white
I got
one.
you creme de menthe.
I got you.
It's been a while since I've had a creme de menthe. That's,
Yes.
that's very nice.
So it's
I thought I was losing my mind. I was
No.
like, he wouldn't have put mint in this, the bastard. So we got fruit juice, mint.
mint.
There's got to be a spirit in there, I'm assuming.
There's got to be a spirit in there.
Is it gin?
Nope.
Vodka?
Nope.
Is this white spirit? Rum?
Nope.
Tequila?
Yes.
Fuck off. No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Really?
Yes.
What have you done to my beloved tequila? Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, so we've got what should have been grapefruit juice.
Yes.
But tropical
Tropical
a medley
loveliness.
of, a medley of
medley
fruits.
of alternative fruits.
A medley of fruits. Mint. Tequila.
Yep.
Anything else?
There's some bitters. There's some grapefruit bitters in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Some of them. And a drop of sugar.
And a drop of sugar.
Yeah.
Were you putting salt in it?
There's a wee bit of salt.
There's a bit, because I saw you
it-
with
yeah,
the
it-
salt,
yeah,
and I
it-
just looked away and went like, I don't think
It
I'm
called
supposed
for
to see that.
a pinch of salt.
A pinch of salt. It didn't. Well, it. No, I'm sorry. I'm really thrown by this. This is awful.
It's not good.
If we lay it out here, tropical juices,
Tropical juices.
mint, tequila, salt, and a bit of fucking bitters and sugar. No. None of that was a good idea by whoever invented this. That was just upsetting. No one enjoyed that when they served that to them. Someone went into the kitchen, came out, and lost a lot of friends. Was this from Difford's?
Sinead has a strong opinion.
I have strong peelings.
Peelings.
Well, I've been peeling a lot of fruit for this. Jesus, was this in Difford's?
Yeah.
I'm actually dumbstruck. I can't finish this. I'm sorry. I keep going back because it's so weird. These are the tiniest sips I'm taking. Fuck no. No. The mint is too much. No. Take it away. Burn it. Think about what you've done. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's horrible.
That's a bad. That's one of the worst we've had in a while.
It's not good.
You know,
And I can't imagine it'd be greatly improved by actually having grapefruit juice.
no, that'd be worse.
And not a tropical mixed fruits.
Mini medley of fruits. Well, maybe it is that bitterness is supposed to balance out the mint. I mean, why? Grapefruit and mint do not belong together.
Yeah.
A fresh fruit salad with a sprig of mint on it, perhaps. This abomination in a glass.
It's not so good.
Sometimes it takes us a while to really gather our thoughts because...
Not on this one.
No. But I know when we started, we were like, I'm not sure because you have to take a few sips and then this got no better. People burn this recipe, make something else immediately because this is a good story. This is a good story I have for you. It's a roller coaster and you need a stiff drink for it.
Blech, no.
Are we actually not finishing
I'm
it?
going to stick with my Negroni.
No, I'm not finishing mine either.
That's
I know
tough.
sometimes when I get desperate during the
Well,
story,
I'm not making you another one, so you got to drink that.
No.
That's all you get in the rest of the evening.
I will be drinking the rest of your gin. That's what I'll be doing. Guys, it has been a while. Certainly the first of the 5th season. Possibly the first in, I don't know
First in a
how
while.
long. But we are not finishing this
Yes,
cocktail.
no, it's not good.
Do not inflict it upon yourselves. Right now, go and get yourself something else to listen to this episode. And Difford's need to think about what they've done. What was the history of this one?
First came from the 70s sometime.
Oh, they can go for themselves. Everything invented in the 70s. There were some good things. Drinks were not one of them. Drinks and food from the 70s, not so good. We can all agree.
I love a vol au vent.
Yeah, but you like a steak Diane, do you? Charred to fuck. Well, with the hot pants flung over a fence.
Thrown as hot pants should be.
As they should be. Let our buttocks reign free. Rain free? That was an interesting turn of phrase.
Going on
I think I was going to go run free, and I thought that wasn't a good thing, and I went rain.
Yeah.
But they reign supreme.
Okay, let's go with that.
As we walk down the road, buttocks out. Are you ready for a story?
I think we probably should.
Okay, then. So this week's story is one of those where you dig through the annals of time, yes, looking for hot pants, and you discover characters along your way, and you sort of click on them, and then the internet explodes. And you go, how have I not heard of this person before? Now, there are some characters in this story that you may have heard of, Nick, some others may have heard of, but it's another great tale of a rogue. A rogue. I'd say a lovable rogue, not so much, actually. Some people might say a lovable rogue. No, not
a
this
murdering
one.
bastard rogue.
Someone who led a double life.
Okay.
We love us some lawless streets. We love us a lovable rogue, and we love us a buttock. And all will figure in this story,
indeed.
Nick.
Hurrah.
The buttock will make sense, I promise. It is but a fleeting reference, but it was too good not to include. We've recently been talking about the formation of the police force in London. So that was my last episode.
Yeah.
But if we go back, there wasn't much of a police force in there. And it allowed arch criminals to reign supreme. And we're going to tell one of their stories.
Nice.
This week we are diving into the 1700s.
Oh.
And we're in London.
Okay.
To tell the tale of one of the city's most famous thief takers. You know of a thief taker?
Someone who catches thieves.
He does, yes.
Yes.
Exactly. And it's usually boys. It's all boys, really.
Yeah.
One of the most famous thief takers and one of its most famous thieves. And yes, it's one person.
Nice. Like it.
And also a great supporting cast of more lovable rogues. We are telling the tale today of the hero and villain, Jonathan Wild.
Oh.
Is this name familiar to you?
Vaguely, and I don't know why.
He is a figure that has appeared in much literature.
Yeah.
Daniel Defoe was there. He's always there.
He's always around.
He's always there. Daniel Defoe writing, I'm stealing all this. He's appeared in various plays and various songs. You love the film Plunkett and McLean?
I do.
Yes, the Ken Stock character?
Yep.
Based on him.
Okay.
Loosely based on him, but yes, this is the kind of territory we're in.
Okay.
So not a hero of the people, very much a villain. So, Jonathan Wild. Who was Jonathan Wild? He was born in Wolverhampton in 1683. And he was from a poor family, but industrious, hard-working. His father was but a lowly carpenter, and his mother sold herbs at the local market.
Witch! Burn her!
Sometimes there was fruit, and a medley of tropical fruits. And she did not go down well, her juices. Oh, dear. Later bio of his life. And I will say right now that Jonathan Wild... his story was told for years after his death. Various biographers who took great liberties in overdoing the drama around his life. However, there is a huge amount of source material completely attesting to what he did and what happened. But when people are writing about it, so one biographer, rather than saying he was the first of 5 children, they wrote, he was the first fruit of his father and mother's nocturnal labours.
Nice.
He was born, basically. He was born.
Nocturnal labours.
In nocturnal labours.
Like
that
it.
phrase was captured in the very good book that is about Jonathan Wild, The Thieves Opera by Lucy Moore, and I really recommend that. A lot of source material in here. So Wild learned to read and write. He did learn to read and write
fancy.
at a free school. Aged around 15, he enters his apprenticeship in the most noble of professions. He's going to be a buckle maker.
Okay. Well, people need buckles.
People need buckles. People need buckles. He worked hard at this. And the family were hard-working people. He was soon ready to run his own buckle-making business. He married the local girl. They had a son. All is looking well for him. But Wild was a man It was wild at heart.
Okay.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of these puns in here.
Oh, God.
Couldn't be tied down, apparently, to the rural life in Wolverhampton. He had a restlessness, which many writers would talk about later, with no basis of information, basically. He didn't want to stay in Wolverhampton.
Yes.
He wanted to go to London. They were like, there was a wildness, and he was just restless, and he had to be free. He had to be free. It just was a bit of a dick. Yeah. He didn't want to, again, it was written about that he would wander around the village in Wolverhampton that he lived in, and from alehouse to alehouse, yes, trying to cure this wanderlust and also to drink heavily.
Yeah, I mean, I've wandered from alehouse to alehouse.
Yes.
Quite frequently.
But they commented it was more for the crack, in compressing it there, but more that he was interested in people and he wanted to sort of wander around and learn. But at the age of 24, he decides, don't like Wolverhampton, don't like having a wife and child, I'm going to go to that there London, and abandons his family.
Wow, that's where the gold is.
Heads out to London. He goes there as a gentleman's servant, and he did his best to learn the ways of the big city. So over the next couple of years, we've got him working for various people. We'll go back to Wolverhampton once or twice, but then he is firmly based in London. It's repeatedly inferred later by writers that he was working for a lawyer. And this is where it's thought through his work and through the lawyer's teaching that he developed his sharp mind and his talent for arguing and for recognising loopholes in the law.
Nice.
It can't just be a coincidence of the amount of time he spent with a lawyer.
I'm sure not.
That would very much serve him later in life. So contracts, legal proceedings, he was helping his master to deal with all of those. Yeah, so back and forth to Wolverhampton, not to see his family, just to get a bit of extra cash. At one point, he borrows someone's horse and sells it on without telling them. And then he cons the owner out of more money when the owner says, can I have some money? He says yes, and does a sort of switcheroo sort of thing. And then he fucks off to London again with more money.
Nice.
The owner of the horse ended up in a repayment scheme for some reason for his own horse. This is true. But he returns to London, all good, running various jobs, petty schemes. But him being a little bit of a rogue, it lands him in a fair amount of debt. And enough people came forward calling in the debt with this young rapscallion that he ends up being prosecuted and he is sent to debtor's prison. Ooh. He goes to Wood Street Compter. That's the name of the debtor's prison in 1710. Now, debtor's prison is as much of a lawless place inside as it is outside.
Yeah, not great places.
Yeah, they're not great
Damn expensive places as well.
Very, very expensive. Well, what do you know about the expenses
Well, I know.
there?
Yes, well, I know you had to pay for your room and board, pretty much. So
you did.
Yeah, you had a daily charge for your lodging and then your food, and if you wanted nicer accommodation, obviously that's going to cost you a lot more. If you wanted visitors, that's going to cost you. If you want to use anything more than a bucket, that's going to cost you.
You want the fancy bucket?
You want the fancy bucket, that's going to cost you.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything and anything was charged, and people had to pay that off before they got out of debtor's prison.
Absolutely.
So,
this is the situation that everyone is in there, and this is not only the standard rates but the guards. The guards want what would be called now bribes. They're called garnishes. Garnish my salary. Here we are. In exchange for any semblance of comfort or humane treatment. And if you couldn't pay, you were in for a rough time. Literally, you couldn't have your bed or anything like that. And the place is overrun with criminals. For some of these criminals, really, it's actually a better place to be, because if you've got a bit of cash and if you can make some money, there was no problem with making money while you were in.
All gambling and all that sort of stuff. Make a coin.
Getting
and things.
people to bring stuff into you, contraband, and sort of running errands and doing favours for guards will get you more money, and you can pay off your debt. But then also you've got quite a nice lifestyle in there, and you're like, actually, it's better than being out on the street.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we've got a system here. Now, Wilde saw this as the perfect place to improve his education.
Okay.
He instantly adapted to life inside the debtor's jail, and he starts offering to run errands for the guards to pay off his debt and to curry favour. He will run around, he will do anything to make money and to get good standing in the jail. He is absolutely determined. Okay. He will be there. It doesn't matter how menial the task is, how disgusting it is, mopping out, slopping out, whatever it is. He's also going to assist the bigger name criminals in there, and he wants to learn from them. So he's not only learning for the guards, he's learning for the criminals. Everything is available at a price. Law books were available in debtor's jail, so there was a library and you could get them, but that's money and everything.
Pay for it, absolutely.
And he's like, yes, I paid for that. A lot of the criminals couldn't read. Jonathan Wild can. So obviously he's going to be quite the commodity in there.
Absolutely.
Saying, if you rent out the books, I'll read them to you. And I'll give you information. He's improving his education. He's also teaching them about the law, and he's got quite a sharp mind as well from his experience. So he's giving them really, really good information. More and more luxuries and more allowances are given to him. While I was reading up about the history of jails at the time, it was noted that the likes of Newgate, people could pay to have dogs, pigeons, pigs and poultry as pets.
Nice.
So it's loud. Also, did you know you could pay for your wife to go to jail with you?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. Wives not happy about it.
And wives not overly keen on the thing.
No.
But you need someone to look after you while you're in jail.
Yes, but the courts came and said, like, we don't think we should send your wife to jail. So they kind of did conjugal visits. They arranged a version of that because the wives were like, fuck off,
Yes.
what?
No, don't think
piss
so.
off. But yes, Wilde is doing all of these jobs. The guards actually trust him so much that they allow him to check new inmates. They let him go out of the prison at night to catch other criminals because he's so trustworthy. He has like earned his position. He's actually earned enough money that he can pay back his debt and then some. So he will be released later, but he's not overly keen to sort of go, oh, I'm going to pay off my debt. He's just massed this money and he's lending money to other criminals, currying favour all the way. Daniel Defoe would write, he became a kind of oracle amongst thieves. Now, just before his release in 1712, Wilde met a sex worker named Mary Milliner, also known as Mary Molyneux. I like Mary. And they formed a relationship and a friendship as well. And she, again, is teaching him about all of her little tricks and trades about how to make some more money. Because when he gets out of jail, he's going to need somewhere to stay. They've got, quite close together. She may not have even been an inmate at the prison. It's sort of debated. Prostitutes were allowed in.
Well, yeah, she may well have been visiting other inmates,
Yes.
essentially, I think.
They had their money. Want to pay for that? No,
but I'd like some sex, please.
I would like to see Miss Molyneux. Yes, she knows her way around the jail. But when they were released, they lived together as husband and wife. Whether they were officially married or not really clear, in a small brothel in Covent Garden.
Lovely.
Oh, lovely. Isn't it lovely? And it was again said by Daniel Defoe, Mary brought him, Wilde, into her own gang. Whether thieves or whores or both, it's not of much material.
Indeed not.
Yes, doesn't matter. Thieves or whores, who cares? I'm like, okay, thank you, Daniel. He would end up acting as muscle for Mary and also the other workers at the brothel as well. So he starts out with this and they have some cons on the side there. So Mary goes out, walking the streets at night. She needs a strong man there to look after her.
Yep.
And also if they can con some gentlemen out of some money or beat the living hell out of them, it's all good.
Then why not?
And this is where they set up their particularly good money-making scam. And it was well known at the time. It is the old scam that was called the buttock and twang.
Okay. Not what I was expecting, but okay.
No, there we are.
I am very intrigued by this scam.
It is. It is a little side note that I could not...
The buttock and twang.
The buttock and twang. Yes. This comes from sex workers who were known as buttock and file sex workers. Do you know what that is?
I don't know.
Well, the buttock, you can probably guess what that's about.
Okay, yeah.
There's buttocks involved.
Buttocks involved.
But they also carried a file for housebreaking.
Okay.
So you have your levels of prostitute back then, today even, but back then obviously you had your penny walkers and everything, and then you had the more refined ladies who had no need to steal, but you had your buttock and file ones who would rob you blind. So you could take the risk going down the alleyway with them, but they might nick your wallet and break into your house and stab you in the eye. But that's the buttock and file. But the buttock and twang, the twang is Mr. Wilde. So what they do is the sex worker would go out, the buttock would go out showing her buttocks all the way, maybe a bit more subtle. Lure
buttocks
them
on the high street.
Lure them into an alleyway, a little, how's your father? Hello, sir. Yes, exchange a few pennies and everything. And the men would commence with the act of lovemaking. And then the twang would lie in wait, and then he would twang them over the head. I mean, it's pretty much that.
Yeah, we can't argue with that. So.
They wait until the sex worker finds his wallet and gets his money, and then she sort of signals to Wilde or the twang, and he comes out and bang over the head, and then knocks him down. And his pants around his ankle. And he's like, what's going on? What's going on? And so they run away.
Oh,
so,
I've been twanged.
I've been twanged. Someone gave me a hell of a twanging down an alley. Really, sir? Mm-hmm. So they run away. Yeah. So the guy can't necessarily report to the police. I've just paid for sex and I've been hit on the back of the head and my wallet's been stolen. What were you doing? Nothing. At the time. The buttock and twang. There it is.
Very much.
And I think there needs to be a cocktail named the buttock and twang.
Absolutely.
Maybe in the drinks break you can come up with something to make up for the hot pants. Now, it's a good business for a time, profitable brothel, but Wild doesn't want to be in the brothel business for very long. No. So he turns his eyes to fencing. No, not swordplay. Fencing of stolen goods.
I really thought he turned his
No.
Oh, boo.
No one ever turns their talents to fencing, do they?
They should.
They should. No, this is fencing, as we've said before on the show. This is receiving stolen goods from petty thieves and selling them on. So you may be stealing them yourselves. More often than not, you are the fence for thieves. Thieves will bring you the property, you will sell it on. The reason that you do this is that there are really huge fines for selling stolen property, and these will get worse and worse throughout this time period of this story. And he's good at it, but then the cogs in his brain start turning when he realises that he can not only make a great deal of money as a fence, and he has started to do so, but he can also make money as a fence in a not traditional sense.
Okay.
He can just pull the age-old trick of quietly receiving stolen goods and then appearing as a knight in shining armour to the person who has reported the theft, and then returning the stolen goods to them, ensuring them that, yes, he has received a tip-off from one of his contacts. I have not stolen it, but here it is. Here are your stolen goods. A reward. I would happily accept a reward. That's very kind of you.
Very generous indeed.
These people will have put notices out. They would have used the local press to report the theft. They would have offered a reward. He then returns it, having orchestrated or stolen it himself, and then cleans up on the reward money. And then a little bit goes to the thieves and everything. Okay. What a nice situation.
Yeah,
clever.
Good plan.
Yeah. He's able to establish himself as a thief and also a trustworthy citizen.
Nice.
The double life.
Yeah.
He starts using the money, though, that he earned from his fences quite wisely, because it would be very easy just to kind of go like, oh yeah, I found this on the street, money please. He knows he's got to have a network of thieves. He can't get involved too much himself.
No.
So he uses the money he earned to get thieves that he knew of or trusted out of debtor's jail.
Okay.
And then they would become part of his gang.
Nice.
They would work for him. They are in jail. He goes in. He is later on has such free reign. He can sort of walk through the jail and interview people, and says, "Yep, okay, fine. I'll pay off his debt."
He's reminding me of like a Mother Mendelbaum sort of character.
Yes, very much like that.
The fence who's sort of like picking and choosing her gangs to do various things, and this is her minions.
It's 100% that. It's like the girl gangs that we love. This is an early version of it, but with boys.
With boys.
But with boys. He soon builds up this network of thieves who can steal. And the gang of criminals is called the Mathematicians.
Oh, nice.
Yes. There was one report that sort of was confused about whether the Mathematicians actually belonged to another person in this story who will come in later, but a couple of other sources were like his gang was the Mathematicians. So they just had that name. Could they add? No.
Yeah, I mean, were they particularly good at the maths? Or?
They all added up, didn't it? It all added up. Yeah. Now, as I said, the scheme still seems fraught with problems. You look at it from the modern eye, but timing, you see, timing. Crime has skyrocketed in London at this time, and there's a huge concern, as I've said, about stolen property. As is mentioned before many, many times, the government, that's all they care about. Murder, screw it, who cares? No. Stolen property, they can steal stuff, that's our money. There are huge rewards being offered for the capture of thieves, and there are harsher and harsher punishments imposed on felons who are found guilty of stealing. So, having a middleman to sell on all these goods, very appealing to the thieves.
Absolutely.
The thieves who may not have as good an education or the gift of the gab as Wild has. He's there going, look, I'll sell it on. You'll get a cut of this. Great, excellent. Okay. One step removed from them. And Wild has established himself as a man who can seemingly track down all of these thieves like magic. What a wonderful guy to do business with. But then this suddenly attracts the attention of Under Marshal Charles Hitchin.
Under Marshal.
Under Marshal. Now, Under Marshal is a title. It is. Yes.
Yes.
The position is the closest thing that London has to a chief of police.
Nice. See, Under Marshal, I'm thinking he patrols the sewers. You've got the marshal on the streets and the Under Marshal.
The Under Marshal. Hello, can I come up up now.
Yes, prowls the underground networks and the tunnels and things.
No, this is a position that has been created. It is paid for. You know, you have to pay to get it. As I've said, we don't have a state-run police. We don't even have the Bow Street Runners at this time. These are all private citizens, but it is their job to keep the peace, to investigate things, and there are hefty rewards, obviously, for investigating cases of stolen property, investigating thieves. It's his job to stop these thieves and fences once and for all, to scourge the city of these no-good criminals. And in 1713, he tracks down Wild, marches up to him and says, "Do you want a job?"
Nice.
Yes. Hitchens is not just a side note character where there's a few lines on him. He is a crazy person in himself. Like everyone else in the story.
Brilliant.
Completely devoid of morals.
Brilliant.
Yep. He paid, at the time, £700.
Okay.
Which is the equivalent of something like
That's
£100,000
awful lot of
plus,
money.
plus
Yeah.
for the position of Under Marshal. So he's been in position for 2 years. No sooner was he in post that he began to extort and threaten every single criminal contact that he had to make more money. Now I'm in this big, oh yes, I'm the daddy of the city.
I've got a big hat.
I've got a big hat and a big twirly cane. Instead of turning thieves in, he goes to them, charges them protection money. Local businesses had to pay protection against the thieves. He used all of his contacts to get as much money as he could. Complete corruption from the start. And secretly, as well, he was also gay.
Okay.
And he used his position...
Well, he must be an evil bastard then.
No, it's not that he's an evil bastard. No, very sadly, he used his position to intimidate the Molly houses.
No.
So the Molly houses are the gay brothels in London. And he would intimidate them in exchange for sexual favours. And also, I won't tell anyone that you exist, but I expect money and I expect some favours in exchange here. Would later say in passing to some of his contacts that was reported later about his position as Under Marshal, what do you think I bought my place for but to make the most of it?
Well, yes, to be honest.
So he was certainly running a similar scheme to Wild's. He's been in position for a little while. He knows there's a new guy in the street who's kind of got like lots of contacts. Oh, okay, taking stolen goods. Good. Hitchens boasts about knowing 2,000 thieves in the city. So loud were his boasts that people began to complain about him to the courts, though. People who'd lost money and wallets, and telling of how Hitchens had charged them 50 guineas to find the stolen property. And then when they paid it, it went, oh, look, here it is. Oh, yeah. And he's like, look, this guy seems dodgy at best. And they'd seen him liaise many times with criminals on the next sting. It just all looks very bad for him. So in 1712, he was suspended from his position for several months. But he needed help to maintain the office and also maintain his network. So who does he go to? Jonathan Wild. He would be the perfect deputy while he takes his break. Like, step back for a bit, but Jonathan, I think you can control this, and you'll be paid handsomely. It's all nice. You can keep the fence goods moving. He can cash in as a thief taker. The government was now offering £40 for every felon captured. That is the equivalent of £8,000 per head.
That's pretty good.
And Wild takes to the position with gusto. Now he has an even better way of playing both law-abiding citizen and criminal genius. And he's going to really lean into the role. And I think that's time for a drink.
Oh, God, yes.
Nick, we have our drinks.
We do.
Wild is now an official position as Deputy Under Marshal of London.
Deputy Under Marshal.
But he's officially a thief taker. So he has established himself. He has happily taken on the position. Now, as we've said, there's no police force. As we know, we have private thief takers, men who are willing to hunt down thieves, bring them to justice. Wild now has all of Hitchens' contacts. So how's he going to play this role? Is he just going to do what Hitchens wanted and just sort of keep business going? Or is he going to become the kingpin?
Nah, he's got to have his own angle on this.
Absolutely. He's got to get all these thieves on his side before Hitchens returns. He wants to make as much money as possible. Any thieves who were seen as rivals to him, or who were not going to work for him, or were as loyal to Hitchens or another gang, Wild would turn them in to the courts. Absolutely no issue with that whatsoever.
That's 40 quid. Thank you very much.
I'm a respectable person. You are a thief. I can report you and they will believe me. I will turn you in 40 quid. You'll go to the gallows. Same went for his own men. If they ever crossed him,
misbehaved.
If they misbehaved, if they didn't pay their dues, if they didn't provide the goods, he would turn them in to the authorities as well. They wouldn't earn any money unless they were working for him, and if they went to a rival gang, they'd be turned into the authorities.
It's going to ensure loyalty, really, isn't it? If you don't, then there's a surefire way. I can send you to the gallows myself.
Absolutely. He also made sure that the criminals kept hold of the stolen goods themselves until the crime was reported in the local press. So as soon as the crime was reported and you have the reward money offered, that's when Wilde would go and approach him and say, okay, give me the stolen goods. I'm going to respond to this. Right, my contacts have found them. I have not received stolen goods. I have just managed to track them down for you, so he's not liable. But then the thief remains in possession of stolen goods. So if they're dicking about and they say, well, I want a bigger cut or anything, right, police round to your house. There he is. Yeah, to hang him. So he has this system where no one can double cross him.
He's a clever man.
Yeah. He's loving this, yeah. If there's a chance for blackmail for the property, obviously he won't go and get the reward money. He'll talk to his thieves and go, okay, is this person maybe a little bit fancy, maybe has some dirty secrets? Because it's not just money they're taking and like goods you can sell. It may be journals and letters.
Letters and things,
absolutely. Quietly blackmail the owner, never admitting that he in fact had stolen or arranged the theft of the item. He was just passing it on. Other things that he liked to steal. He once stole a sedan chair.
Nice.
From a woman who stood up, apparently, in the street, and then his thieves ran off with it. On one occasion, again, and this is from an article written by Kieran Conleaf in Head Stuff, a clergyman had made the mistake of relieving himself in a back alley in a less than salubrious area. Immediately, a prostitute brushed against him, and when he cried out, one of Wilde's men grabbed him. Wilde threatened to publicise the fact that the priest had been cavorting with a prostitute. Despite the naive man's protestations of innocence, only a bribe from a more streetwise friend saved him. So yeah, literally,
gonna ruin him.
A prostitute has touched you on the shoulder. You've been seeing a prostitute. He also kept records of every criminal who worked with him, and he had marks next to them about whether they were loyal or not, or whether they should go to the gallows. And also in this bribery, blackmail bit, he would put coded adverts into the press, and this famous one has been reprinted. It reads, "Lost, 1st of October, a black shagreen pocketbook, edged with silver, with some notes of hand." So notes of hand and money. And notes of hands would also be promissory notes, so they would have a signature on them. The said book was lost in the Strand near Fountain Tavern about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. If any person will bring off a aforementioned book to Mr. Jonathan Wild in the Old Bailey, he shall have a guinea reward.
How very kind.
Very straightforward. The Fountain Tavern was a brothel.
Ooh.
So in the advert, he's making it clear, notes of hand, I have your signature. I know exactly who you are. This has been lost outside a brothel, so I can tell everyone that you've been in a brothel. Bring it to Jonathan Hand, and the guinea reward will be paid to me. So yeah, putting that in the press. Isn't that clever?
Clever.
As Wilde's reputation is growing, the local press are praising him for helping to stop the sale of stolen goods. He's cracking down on criminals. Everyone is delighted with his work. He's so adept at capturing all of these thieves and clearing the streets of any wrongdoers. He would boast later that he had sent 60 men to the gallows.
God.
And these are men in his network on rival gangs, but he is the hero of the bunch, and everyone around him is fucking terrified. He sets up his own offices in the Blue Boar pub, and there's an extract again from the Lucy Moore book describing that his various locations that he set up. So it's the Blue Boar pub in one account, there's the Red Lion pub in another, but these pubs, when described at the time, were sort of networks of murder and hiding bodies and knives and everything underneath these pubs. That's where he operated. He had these offices, and he was at the Old Bailey, but he also was in pubs that people come and see him. But also underneath it, that it was always just a den of iniquity. It was just absolutely heaving with crime. And when it was excavated later on, there were just corpses everywhere. It's never been implied that he killed anyone, but apparently he was sitting on a whole pile of bones. So, yes. Now, in his position Deputy Under Marshal, Hitchens has come back and gone, what the fuck? Why have you built an entire empire without me? You're fired, sir. And he's like, well, I don't care.
Yeah.
He fucks
I've got
off.
a lot of money now.
Yeah, he still calls himself, though, Deputy Under Marshal, and he still carries a sword as a sign of the position. No one's going to argue. Yeah. People will call into his offices as well, and famously will say, I've lost some properties. He's like, I have found it. Don't worry. And like, I haven't told you what it is yet.
But I can see it on your shelf over there.
I'm like, what is it? A blue wallet. Of course it was. Yes, it has. I will find it for you, sir. Yeah, people were quite bemused by this, but as long as they got their property back, they didn't mind. His relationship, unfortunately, Mary Milliner, had ended because he had gotten a row with her and cut off her ear.
Oh, that seemed unnecessarily dramatic.
Yeah, pretty horrible. If you had any kind of sympathy, I just wanted to throw that in there going, oh, what a clever criminal he is. No, he was not a bastard, and he used very offensive language that I'm not going to repeat, cut off her ear to mark her as a sex worker.
Is that a thing?
I don't know if it's a thing, but it's a thing that he did.
He did a thing that, a horrible thing he did.
Yeah, horrible thing. They're no longer lovers. She continued to work for him, though, to do stuff because she was afraid.
Was afraid otherwise,
Yeah, exactly. She lost her ear to the man. But Hitchens has returned to his post. He is furious. He's now got to bring this man down. How can he? He's got to do the only thing that people can do at this time to bring Wilde down. He is going to write a pamphlet. Oh, yes.
Oh, a strongly worded pamphlet.
A strongly worded pamphlet. A pamphlet to the tune of a true discovery of the conduct of receivers and thief takers in and about the city of London. And it's just a bitch note about...
It's going to get people talking.
About Wilde, like going, oh, Wilde's true nature, he's the thief, he's horrible. Like, I am as pure as the driven snow, honestly. Oh, Wilde, he's going to respond in kind. He's going to take out his own pamphlet. Oh, yes. An answer to a late insolent libel. That is his pamphlet. It's a wonderful time where you just print pamphlets against...
Just print pamphlets wherever
rather than just like having a slap in the street.
Well, it's not like Facebook, isn't it, really? It's like a comments thing on Twitter or something.
Or just doing a video on TikTok going, so someone has published this thing about me and I just want to respond to the allegations.
But you do it in pamphlet form instead.
Yeah, you do it in pamphlet forms. But Wilde has an ace up his sleeve. Because he's not only going to yell about Hitchens going, well, he's as bad as all the people that he's claiming to are thieves. He's a thief himself. He's a man who's been suspended from his duties once. And, by the way, he's a homosexual. He puts the information into the pamphlet, has just enough to tarnish his reputation.
Yeah, that's not going to do any favours.
No, Hitchens, who is a horrible man, but it's still laid out that this man visits molly houses. Hitchens tries to respond. His reputation is destroyed. Yeah. He's out. He is still in the position. He's allowed to keep the position. He fucking paid for it, so he's allowed to stay.
Yeah.
No powers, no network of thieves to help him. He sort of like falls into obscurity. He still has a sort of role, but it's never what it was. Yeah. So by the 1720s, Wilde is so successful publicly as a thief taker that he's been advising the Privy Council on how to prevent crime.
Nice.
Wisely advises them, you know what you should do? You should probably increase the reward for capturing thieves.
Yeah, but it sounds reasonable.
Yeah, £40, not enough. £140, that would be better. Yeah. Just put an extra 100 on there. Yeah.
And he's going to people.
He's going to rake it in. He has control over most of London now, and he calls himself Thief Taker General of Great Britain and Ireland. Nice. Don't know if he ever went to Ireland, but nope. He was just in London. Yeah. But all goodish things must come to an end. In positioning himself as a person of authority close to the government, he is swept up in a sudden wave of anti-establishment feeling that hits London in the 1720s. So this is after the so-called South Sea bubble bursts. And do you know what the South Sea bubble is?
We have done this before, I'm sure.
I think it's been related. I cannot
remember anything about it, but I know we've covered this before.
I think it may have been mentioned. It may have been mentioning some of the stuff in piracy as well, but it was the South Sea. So the South Sea Company, lots of investment. Everyone was investing in that. Absolutely decimated. It was all messed up. Everyone lost their investments. Yep. It burst and everyone had lost all their savings. And loads of politicians had backed it, and it was revealed that they received bribes in order to back this. So people of different classes have lost the money in their investment, but also see the politicians as completely corrupt.
Yeah.
So that's a very, very compressed explanation of it. But this results in everyone going, well, fuck the establishment. Yep. They are absolutely screwing us over. And there are still thieves on the street, and there is still stuff. Actually, this wild guy isn't doing anything.
Yes, this thief taker general's done fuck all.
Absolutely. Everyone is feeling really bad, and they start to lean more towards the sort of heroic and more charismatic thieves of the age. Enter one of the most famous, Jack Sheppard, also known as Honest Jack. Have you heard of Honest Jack?
I know the name. I couldn't tell you any of the story, but I've heard the name before.
So he's sort of so interesting. He could almost be a mini Patreon episode in himself, but I'll compress some of his life story here. He is a housebreaker, and he becomes a folk hero for the people of London because he is, this slight, charming thief, and he's so successful. And he'd refused to join Wild's gang. Wild had approached him on the sly. You work for me. No. So Wild, of course, has him arrested in 1724. Wild sends his man, James Helen Fury Sykes.
Nice.
To bring him in for burglary. That guy was probably quite a docile man, I feel. He was like, I don't like the nickname I've been given. So Jack is arrested, thrown into a jail, not Newgate yet. He has one other really, really interesting skill. He can break out of prison.
Escaping things. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He is an escape artiste. He was in the Roundhouse jail for a sum total of 3 hours.
Brilliant.
Before he broke out. He runs off. Wild tracks him down. His men track Jack down again in May that year. He and his partner, now Jack's partner is Edgeworth Bess, is her name. And they've been sort of paramours for a very long time. It's very romantic, kind of this sort of thing. They are both arrested. They both are sent to prison and they both escape together. Yep, they both escape and no problem whatsoever. July, Wild tracks down Bess. He finds Bess when she's drunk and forces her to tell him where Jack is. It's horrible betrayal, seemingly, but, Bess is absolutely drunk and also Wild is probably not very nice to her.
No.
Yeah. Let's slip where Jack was. He's arrested again. This time he's thrown into Newgate and he's sentenced to death for burglary. But while he was in the condemned cell awaiting his hanging, he breaks out again. Brilliant. Snuck out in women's clothing.
Fantastic.
Someone brought him in some women's garb. He just went, hello, sir, and just walked out going, well, there we are. Lots of women in here today. Let's go to Jack's cell. Oh, my God.
Love it.
News of his escapes have not escaped the press.
I'm sure.
It's all over the press and the public are firmly on Jack's side. They love him. Hero of the people. What a rogue. What a charming man. Actually, smash the system, Jack. Yeah. We like you. Wild gets Jack again. September 1724. Like, right, fine. Okay, back into Newgate. You're going into the most secure cell and you're going to be chained to the floor. Chained and shackled to the floor behind 6 iron doors. Like, right, stay there. Stay there. While he's in his cell, Wild has also brought one of Jack's accomplices, a man named Joseph Blueskin Blake, to trial as a highwayman. Now, there's a lot of detail behind this, but essentially he's brought into the court. Blueskin is sentenced to death, and Blueskin turns to Wild. He knows Wild, and he's like, please, just give me transportation. Don't send me to the gallows. Don't commit me to death. Wild just scoffs at him. No, refuses. So Blueskin draws out a blade that he had on him and slashes at Wild's neck and gets him.
Oh.
Gets him. He is rushed out of the courtroom. Now, Wild will survive the attack, but it's a pretty savage blow that he's cast. Would take him several weeks to recover in total, but as he's run out of the courtroom and everyone's in mayhem, back in Newgate, a riot has started.
Brilliant.
And Jack just goes, he just casually picks the locks and the shackles and chains that he's been covered in, breaks through 6 iron doors and walks the fuck out.
Nice.
Poor Blueskin did stay in jail and he would go and he would be hanged ultimately. But it would be November. Finally in November, Jack is caught again by Wild's men. And Wild has just fucked this up royally. Everyone knows. Everyone is disgusted with him. He is put in the most exposed cell in Newgate. All the comic books that you're thinking of where you have like the glass walls and everything and guards
like
with
Magneto
guns.
Cell.
It's literally Magneto cell. He is there and he is covered in 300 pounds of chains. Don't fucking move. And he's watched for 24 hours and Jack's standing there going, well, I'm screwed. Okay. People would pay handsomely as well.
Sure.
All the nobility would come in to see Jack Sheppard, honest Jack. He was offered a chance, Jack was, to commute his sentence if he gave up his accomplices. Jack refused. So unlike Wild, he said, no, I will not give up anyone. He would go to the gallows in front of 200,000 people on the 16th of November that year. He was so beloved by the crowds that everyone was jeering around him. He had some of his supporters. He didn't have a great death. It was not a good hanging. No. But when his body was cut down, all the crowd surged forward to protect his body so it wouldn't be taken for dissection.
Oh, very good.
This did actually stop his supporters who were hiding in the crowd who wanted to get his body and try and take it to a surgeon so they could try and revive him. That old trick doesn't normally work after you've strangled
you strangle someone for an hour on a rope.
Yeah, but when they got through, the crowds trying to protect said, no, you won't have him for dissection, had just literally decimated his body. So there wasn't much left of him, but he was given a burial and he didn't go to the dissection table. Now, the whole debacle, as I said, ruined Wild's reputation. He's recovering from his courtroom attack. He can't manage his thieves properly. Eventually, he devised loads of schemes that seemed to go wrong. He got mixed up in some stolen goods that were supposed to go out of the country. There was a fight on the boat that was supposed to be transporting them that was run by thieves. And someone said, I'm going to the authorities. And then the captain went, no, you're not. And then they started fighting. And then the captain gets thrown into jail. He's one of Wild's men. I'm really compressing this here, but yeah. But Wild is like, right, I need to get him out so he isn't convinced to turn state evidence against me. And so he orchestrates a prison riot and breaks the man out of jail. And people notice. Yeah, he is broken out of jail. He is then eventually Wild is arrested for his part in this prison riot. While he's in jail, people still come to him talking about stolen property. A woman who owned a lace shop comes to him and said, like, oh, yes, I had spoken to you before a few times about some lace that has gone missing, and you said you had some information if I gave you some money. And from jail, he said, oh, yes, no, I know exactly who has that. Just pay them 10 guineas. You don't need to pay me anything. Your prayers are enough, madam. Yeah, that will come back to haunt him because when he goes to trial, a whole horde of people who used to work for him are very happy to give evidence against Wild. Wild, who has not been loyal and who is ruled with an iron fist and has threatened everyone. His gang members going, is he seriously in jail?
Right.
Oh, right. No, we have information on him.
Yeah, no loyalty there whatsoever.
Absolutely, yeah. There are several people who come to court, and amongst them are the thieves that Wild had set up to rob the lace shop. So they come forward and said, oh yeah, no, he gave me instructions saying that there's a blind old bitch who runs a lace shop, told me to go in and steal stuff from him. And then the lace lady comes up, takes a stand going, but he promised that he would find it for me. And oh my God. And he's like, oh.
Things are backfiring.
Things are backfiring. The different reports, and again, there's all sorts of different ones from different time periods that say, you know, that this botched kind of selling of goods abroad was the thing that he was brought down for. The main thing is he ended up being convicted because of this lace theft.
Oh, God.
After a bolt of lace sent him to the gallows. He was sentenced to death for theft. There were all sorts of attempts at appeals and all sorts of things. When he was eventually given his sentence, he couldn't believe it. He begged for a reprieve, insisting that, you know, not talking about that I did it, but just like, but I've done so much good for London. You know,
I've caught so many thieves.
I have. Please think of that. What about all the thefts? Don't worry about that. He stopped eating, lost his mind as he was awaiting his death. He was later charged also, while he was in jail, with stealing the regalia of the Knight's Garter.
Oh, God. Okay.
Not good. These all stuff keeps coming out going, please just shut up. It's fine.
Stop stealing stuff.
Stop stealing lace and garters. Oh, it's not that. Oh, I see. Okay. The night before his hanging, he took laudanum in an attempt to kill himself. It didn't work.
Yeah.
Put him in a stupor. Some say it was a coma. He was pretty out of it. He was dragged to the gallows to the cheers of thousands of people assembled at Tyburn. Tickets were sold to see him hang. He allegedly managed to compose himself, or was compos mentis enough, before the hangman put the noose around his neck. The hangman who had been a guest at one of his weddings.
Oh, God.
And there, Jonathan Wild dropped to his death. He was buried that evening, and that evening he was then dug up. And his remains were given to the Royal College of Surgeons for dissection, and his skeleton is apparently still on display at the Hunterian Museum in London.
Oh, very good.
That is the wild story of Jonathan Wild.
That is a wild story indeed. My God. I can't believe I've never heard of any of them. I mean, there's the name, but I had no idea about any of the craziness. It's one of those names that just, I heard about it somewhere in a story.
Yeah.
But I had no idea of the level of insanity going on there.
Just complete double life, where I looked at, I think it was last week or when I was actually doing the police episode research, and then sort of looked at it and then looked at the searches, and I just wrote in a massive list somewhere in my notes and went, Jonathan Wild!
Must do him.
And then went, oh, okay. Oh my God, there's a lot here. Yeah, lots of books written about him. Inspiration for all sorts of lovable rogues. And you can see with this Ken Stott character in Plunkett McLean. Honest Jack as well, very famous. There's loads written about them. There's loads written about Hitchens as well. We keep wanting to call him Christopher Hitchens, and it's not that.
It's not him.
It's not him. Charles Hitchens. All of their information, because they were just, it's insane just how corrupt they were.
Yeah.
And it just happened for years and years and years.
Yeah, absolutely. And people just got away with it. And because no one really cared.
Well, I mean, if you can play the system, it's
Yeah.
like kind of like early Mafia almost, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No one to stop you, so why the hell not? So
Legitimate businessman.
you can get away with it, then you crack on.
Well, what do you think, people? What do you think of the story of Jonathan Wild, the thief taker and thief? What do you think of all of the characters who are in the story? Do you know of any of them? Had you heard of Jack Sheppard and Honest Jack? There's loads of backstory about him as well. Loads of backstory about Hitchens. Loads of little bits of really interesting London history in this story as well, including the Molly houses. You know, it's like we touched on that. And we should also say there's a great book out at the moment called The Betrayal of Thomas True by AJ West, who is a lovely, lovely person who has written this wonderful story about a sort of a mystery and a murder mystery about the Molly houses. And I'm not sure if some of the characters figure in that as well, but we know it's a really interesting book. So do check that out. And also loads of books written about all of these characters. Oh, yes, Daniel Defoe had a field day with this. righty, he did. What do you think of all the methods that we use? Would you do the same if you were elected to office? Would you just go, oh, I'm going to go full corrupt? Or would you try to change the system?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? I think probably nowadays it's more difficult to go to corrupt now, I think.
Is it, though?
I think back in the day...
I mean, the
probably,
fucking president... I mean, literally, it's happened. You would think it would be hard. Apparently not.
Apparently not.
I mean, he has been convicted, but also,
Yeah, that's not making a difference,
it's
is
fake news. Back in the day, I guess it's easy.
It's probably easier. And you can see how, if you were in that sort of role,
Yeah.
how easy it could be to slide into
Yeah.
something. You say, I have got pretty much supreme authority over all this in London. One can imagine how easy it would be to lose your morals and your ethical sort of compass when it'd be so easy if I just did that.
Well, in a city with no morals, it is a lawful society, but it is completely corrupt, really. It's not an equal place
Absolutely
to live.
not.
No
Absolutely
one is
not.
being allowed to live as themselves.
Yeah.
Really, you are allowed to live as a version of
So-
society.
Yeah, you can imagine. I imagine it being easy. The temptation being there to go, fuck it. Is every man for itself?
Well, as we've established before, that you would be the crime boss. You know, you would be the cult leader, but I think you would be very easy walking around with your big fur coat, even when there weren't furs, and twirling your cane and just going, hello, chartreuse, please.
Chartreuse, please.
Well, tell us what you think, people. Jump on the comments of this episode and share your thoughts, your feelings, your musings. Leave comments on any of the audio players that you listen to this on, or on Patreon, or on social media. But most importantly, don't make the hot pants.
Don't. We've not even finished ours. Half a glass sat there.
No,
because it's not very nice.
It's just not good. Maybe there's a variation.
Make up something nice. Just whatever you fancy. Just go for it.
We'll
Something
try
lovely.
if you've got the grapefruit. If you've got the grapefruit juice, is it meant to be ruby grapefruit juice or
It's going to be a pink grapefruit juice.
pink grapefruit juice? If you have it, maybe try it and see if it's for you. I mean, it feels like a waste of good liquor.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother.
Tequila, mint, and grapefruit.
Nah.
If you feel so
Make something
inclined,
nice.
let us know how it works out. If not, invent something and call it the buttock and twang.
Yeah, well, exactly. We do need to know what is in the buttock and twang.
Yes, we do. I mean, that's the secret of everything. But share pictures of any cocktails you were enjoying, any cocktails that you find on your travels. We love to know about them. And keep sending suggestions of more stories that we can be covering into season 5, whether they are crimes, whether they are crime-related bios of people. There's a few of those out there. Anything that you would like to hear from the Poisonous Cabinet, it's really up to you. If you haven't already, please consider joining us on patreon.com/The Poisonous Cabinet and leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks for listening, guys. We have been the people inside the Poisonous Cabinet. We will see you next week. And remember, your loved ones are trying to kill you.